In the fourth and final round, David Miliband in the MPs and MEPs section received 17.812%. In the members section, 18.135%, and in the affiliates, 13.40%, making a total of 49.35%. Ed Miliband in the MPs and MEPs section received 15.522%, in the members section 15.198%, and in the affiliates 19.934%, making
You want higher taxes, a bigger state, strongly controlled markets. You're the candidate of the big union barons. You've tacked relentlessly to the left. If David Cameron was to design his ideal Labour leader, we'd be like you.
Well, that's certainly a caricature.
You said you had a good manifesto. You drew it up, you wrote it. And yet look how much you've changed. Before the election, you supported the Iraq war. Now you don't.
That's not true.
Before the election, you supported tuition fees. Now you don't. You've just said that. Before the election, you supported the third runway at Heathrow. It was in your manifesto. Now you don't. Before the election, you thought the 50p tax rate should be temporary. Now you don't. So, I mean, are there no limits to how far you'll grovel to the left of the Labour Party?
Well, that's not the way I'd put it, and I don't think that's an accurate characterisation.
But you've changed your mind on all these issues, haven't you?
Well, I've changed my mind on some issues, but let me...
Well, on all of these.
But let me just say two things. First of all, when you're part of a government, you accept collective responsibility, and I think that's about loyalty, which I mentioned to Michael earlier on. But secondly, when you lose an election, you face a choice. Do you say, well, let's just do more of the same, let's stick to what we did before? I think that is a recipe as a Conservative fan. We regret what happened during the banking crisis, but we've got to learn the lessons.
If you're learning the lessons, what are you doing entertaining a donation, possibly of £1 million, from somebody who's been a tax exile and who was controversially involved in the collapse of a business in which he had a very large stake?
Well, hang on a minute,
well,
John. You're flinging around allegations about...
It's in today's Financial Times. He's identified by name.
Look, there are clear rules on party political donations, and we're going to observe these rules.
Yeah, but is this guy a predator?
Well, no, what I say... Actually, this is someone who built up a property business, an important property business, and that's an important part of our country. But what I say, look, this is about the rules that government sets. I've been very clear about this. This is much less about the moral judgment.
But the party flouts the ruls. Well, I mean,
we're not flouting the rules.
Well,
look, it's about the rules.
But this is a moral issue, isn't it, at the end of the day? Do you take money from a tax exile, from somebody who's been 5 years in exile?
Actually, sorry,
he is now,
yeah,
but he wasn't for 5 years.
So he's not a tax exile.
Well, he was a tax exile. Do you approve of somebody who was a tax exile for 5 years?
He's not a tax exile, is he? He went to live in Switzerland and he's back here.